Hi, and welcome to Craft Along with Jay. I am so happy you could join me today. Today it's all about the bugs, the ladybugs. I love ladybugs. What about you? Here's project number one. We need some Mod Podge and some fabric, the square pieces from Walmart, and the longer piece is from the Dollar Tree. Got some burlap ribbon, some wood letters, and a wood round from the Dollar Tree as well. And the first thing we do is find the middle part of the wood round, and then we'll make a line straight across. So we divide it up in the middle. Just like that. And then I'm just going to make a line all the way across. You can use a pencil. You won't be able to see it once we get the fabric on. We're not going to paint or anything like that. We're just going to use the fabric. I'm going to start with the red with the black dots on them. Kind of figuring out the layout and the wrinkles and stuff in the fabric. But here I'm just gonna do the bottom half or the bottom top, the top the top half. Getting myself all confused with Mod Podge. And that's where we're gonna place the red fabric with the black dots on it. I'm making a good nice layer. Make sure you get all the way to the edge so that way once it dries there's no like little gaping. There we go. And then I'm just going to line it up with that line that we made with the pencil. Yep, just like so. And then I'm just smoothing it out. There's absolutely no wrinkles whatsoever. You can't even see the folds from the fabric. And I'm just smoothing it out all the way to the edge. Make sure it's down nice and tight. And then I just cut close to the edge um, around the wood round. And then I'm going to give it another coat of Mod Podge on top just to seal it in and making sure it's not going to come off at any point. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom part. And here I'm figuring out the placement of it, how much I need, and then I'm going to Mod Podge it on, first on the bottom, then the fabric, and then I cut the piece close to the edge of the wood round, and then I'm going to give it a coat of Mod Podge on top. And while that's drying, I'm going to take my wood letters and I'm going to paint them with apple barrel in the color black. And while that's drying, I'm going to work on a ribbon. And here I'm going to work on an 8-inch tail. And I'm going to scrunch it up right there and twist it and put it in. And then I'm making sure it's the 8 inches. And you want to twist it in the middle so that way when it gets to the other side, you have the, I call it the wrong side facing up because when you flip it over, you're going to have the right side up and you can see the right side the way you're supposed to look at it on a bow, if that makes sense. And because this roll was so big, it just bothered me having it on that dowel. So I took it off and I'm going to measure out my bows. First, I was thinking I was going to make 8-inch bows, but I decided it's going to be too big from a wood round. I didn't want to drown it with the bow because I'm going to make a big fluffy bow. So I'm making them at 6 inches instead. And I'm flipping it over and I'm going to twist it in the middle. And then I'm going to make another loop on the other side at 6 inches. And then I'm twisting it in the middle again. And then I'm making another loop on each side. So there's going to be 2 loops of the ladybugs on each side at 6 inches. And then I'm going to make another 8-inch tail on the other side. Yep, like so. And here I'm going to do the exact same thing with the red buffalo check ribbon, but I'm making the tails are still 8 inches, but my loops are 5 inches each. So I went down 1 inch, and I'm still doing the twisting in the middle and flipping it over like so, and making another 8-inch tail. And I'm just kind of just arranging it a little bit the way I want it to look when I pull it off. And then I'm trying to figure out, I have this burlap ribbon in red and white. I'm trying to figure out which one, but I went with the red. I'm going to make another 8-inch tail, and I'm making 4-inch loops this time. So for each color, I went down 1 inch of the size of the loops, but I'm still making 2 loops on each side and still 8-inch tails. Now I end up cutting the tails down because they are too long. So I would probably say if you want to remake it, make them about 6 inches. Then they'll fit just fine on the wood round. And then I'm just going to use some zip ties to go around the bundle like so. And then just pull it really tight. Now because the red is going to be the top of my bow, I'm going to take the where the zip tie closes to the bottom so it's not a lump at the top. You get what I'm saying? I hope so. And here I'm going to cut that off, and I made a little red loop like that to put in the middle, and I'm using zip ties to attach that as well. So it looks like a little mini loop in the middle. And then I'm just going to arrange it everything and fluff everything out. And while it was still on the Easy Bow Maker, I did ducktail the tails of the bow, but I end up cutting them shorter. So I ducktail them again later. But it's a nice fluffy bow, and that's kind of what I was going for. All right, so here's the wood round. It's all dry. And then what am I doing? Oh, I'm going to sand on the edges because you can't really cut all the way close to the wood round. So I sanded all the way around. And once that was done, I took this burlap ribbon and I just went across where the 2 pieces of fabric meets in the middle. Just make it look nice, clean, and crisp. So I go all the way across. Yep, like so. And then I'm going to take my wood letters and I'm going to arrange them on the bottom half of the wood round. I'm going to spell out the word welcome. And I'm kind of going up and down because they won't fit straight across, but it also gives it a little bit of character this way. So I'm kind of liking how that turned out. And I'm just going to hot glue them on. And then we're going to get this bow. So you kind of see what I mean with the tails being too long. It kind of covers up a little bit of the letters. So I cut them a little bit shorter. It's about 6 inches. And I'm putting my bow at the top. I actually love how this bow turned out. And I'm not a great bow maker. But I'm pleased with this one. I think it turns out absolutely adorable. And I'm just kind of fluffing it all out, playing around with the placement. And then I just made a little hanger to put on the back of my wood round. Just a dot of hot glue, and then I put a little bit of masking tape on top, and that will hold it in place. You can hang it up, or you can uh, put it in one of those little book stands and you can just have it on a shelf like that. It's really beautiful. I love it. Let me know what you think about this one. All right, for project number 2, we're going to use this little box thingy I've gotten, probably from Hobby Lobby, but it has little wood cutouts with different flowers or bugs, insects and stuff. And then I got a bag of black rocks from the Dollar Tree, and I picked up 5 that was kind of round, and then I picked up 5 that was kind of a little bit more oval shaped. And then I'm going to use black, red, and yellow paint. So it's maize and black and apple red. And I'm going to paint my box black. And then for my round rocks, I'm going to use the red, and I'm going to leave the top, the end piece of the rock black, and then I'm going to paint the rest of it red. And I'm going to do that to 5 rocks, the round rocks. So you can probably already figure it out. So making these into ladybugs, the round ones. And you see the tip is kind of still black, so that would be the head. And it takes about 3 coat of paint to make sure this is covered. It's nice bright red. Because once it dries, it does kind of mellow out a little bit, or it fades. So it takes about 3 coats. And then I do the same thing with the oval shaped rocks, but I'm painting them yellow. So you figured that out. That would probably be little bumblebees. And I did 3 coats of the yellow as well on these rocks right here. All right, and now that they're dry and I've had all the coats of paint, I'm going to make some black stripes on my bees. And I'm using a very fine paintbrush for that. And I'm doing that on all 5 bees. And then what am I doing? Oh, I'm just go ahead and painting the little heads with the black paint as well. And I'm doing that on the ladybugs as well. It kind of clears up the edge between the black and the red as well. A nice line across. Okay, and then I'm going to use my white paint by Waverly, and I'm just going to use the tip of a toothbrush, good lord, of a paintbrush, and I'm going to make little dots as the eyeballs on the bees and on the ladybugs as well. To start to come to life. There we go. And here I'm going to use some black paint, and I'm going to separate the body and the wings on the ladybugs. Give it some definition. And then I'm using the tip of a paintbrush, and I'm going to make some black dots on the wings. And then I'm also going to use the black ink, the black paint to make the dots on the eyes. Can't really tell here, but when you see a close up of them, you can see the eyes, the little black dot in the middle of the white. And here, um, I have a bumblebee that came in a pack from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using that as a guide of how to make wings on my little bees. I'm just painting it on, and I'm only doing 1 coat because I wanted them to be kind of transparent. Um, like the wings. You can't really, they're not really white, but they're kind of transparent, but it's the best I could do. So I'd only give it one coat, and you can still see the stripes through. So that was good enough for me. I was very happy with the outcome. And as you can already figure out, so I'll be making a tic-tac-toe game with bugs. And it turned out super cute. I love this one. That's probably my favorite of my projects today. There we go. And I'm putting it in my little wooden case. And that's what they look like up close. I think they're totally adorable. Let me know what you think about this one as well. All right, for project number 3, I got this little frame. I'm not sure where it came from. I got these little bling thingies from the Dollar Tree, and I got a little bag of ladybugs, and I got a what do they call? Peel and stick wallpaper from the Dollar Tree. The first thing I do, I'll take the backing of my frame, and then I'll also take um, the hanger off. We don't need that at all. Put that to the side, and then I just peeled up a little piece of that paper from the peel and stick, just for the area where I want it um, to be shown on my little wood piece there. And then once I place it down, I'll cut around it like so. And then I'm just going to push the paper back down so I'm not wasting any paper at all out of my peel and stick like so. And then I'm just going to go around with my sanding block and sand the edges. That was just a little tiny overlap. And then I was sanding down the frame because I really wanted to paint it. But when I started distressing it like this, I actually liked how that looked. So I just distressed the whole frame and left it like that because I really liked how that turned out. So no need to paint it. And then I'm gonna end up cutting 2 strips of these little bling thingies. But if you want to recreate this, you really just need 1 row because that's all I ended up using. And I'm gonna paint them black. And here I have these little sticker letters from the Dollar Tree. And I'm gonna use it on the top of my frame, spell out Ladybug. And then at the bottom of my frame, I'm gonna spell out the word crossing. And it just so happened they were red. I really lucked out on this one. I didn't have to paint anything, and it kind of went with the color of the decor piece. So I was very pleased with that. So there we go, ladybug, and then we do crossing at the bottom. And I'm using my little Cricut tool because when you pull off the stickers, there may be a little extra piece like in the middle, like on the O and the G. So I'm just using that to pull them out. Or if I need to straighten them up, it's very helpful because the letters are so small. There we go. And that's how that looks. And then I'm gonna take these things we painted black. I have one ladybug laying there on one of the leaves, and now we're gonna use these black thingies and we're gonna make a little route where it looks like it's been flying. And it actually turned out really, really nice. I like it. So it's kind of been flying around in a little circle. go. And then I'm going to add some more ladybugs in there. Just kind of playing around with them. Kind of figure out where I want everything to be. And once we have that, then we're going to take the little backing off the ladybugs on the back. They have a little sticker part, but they don't stick too well. So I'm just going to peel those off, and then I'm going to use hot glue to glue them down. Yep, there we go. And that's it for this one. I think it's super cute. What do you think? Oh, wait, I forgot to put on some Mod Podge on the letters to make sure they're not peeling off. So a little quick Mod Podging, and there we go. Now it's done. Project number 4. I got this wood letter, a word saying love, and I got some ladybug fabric from the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure where the wood piece came from. I've had it for a very long time. But I decided to use it for this project. So I'm going to put Mod Podge on it, and then I'm going to start adding the fabric. And I'm not going to put Mod Podge on the ladybugs because I do not want the fabric to stick to that. So I'm going to only on the letters, and I'm staying clear of the butterflies. And we'll cut around that. There we go. Then I'm just kind of smoothing it out, no wrinkles. And then I'll just cut the fabric down. So we have a little less to work with. And then I'm just using my X-Acto knife to cut around the letters. And I guess I've already given a coat of Mod Podge on top of um, the fabric. So it had a coat underneath and a coat on top. And then once that's all dry, I'm using my X-Acto knife to go around the edge of the letters to cut the fabric off. And that's what it looks like. And then there's just a little bit of overhang in a couple of places. So I'm just going to use my sanding block to sand that off. And then I'm going to use my apple red paint by Folk Art. And I'm going to paint on the edges of the letters. So, yeah, on the edge all the way around and in between. And then here I'm just adding some jute twine just to outline the letters. And I do that for the inside of the O and the E as well. And then I had painted my ladybugs in creamy coral, but I didn't quite like it, so I decided just to paint them red. And as you'll see in the final view, that I did put some black dots on them as well, so they kind of resemble ladybugs, even though they're butterflies, but I kind of thought that was cute. And here I'm just adding some more ladybugs just randomly around the words. And I'm still taking the backing off and adding some hot glue. And yeah, getting all these glue strings off. They are everywhere. But isn't that super cute? I love it. And here's the finished view of all of them. Here's the wood round. I think it's awesome, very adorable. My little tic-tac-toe game. Love that one. That's my favorite. And my love sign and my ladybug crossing. Let me know what you think about these. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. I would really appreciate it. Until next time.